All right.
Okay, good evening. I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Town of Grizzle Board of Finance to order December 17th, 2024 at 7 PM in the Town Hall Meeting Room. First item on the agenda, roll call to order.
Present, we have Matt Pico, Scott Davis, Gary Bolak, and Mark DePonte.
Okay, number 2 on the agenda is public forum. Does anyone wish to speak? And we're going to move on to item 3 on the agenda, approval of minutes. November 19th, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, first and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, we're going to vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, new business, finance director's monthly report.
All right, so I handed you the revenue and expenditure reports for the current year and fund balance analysis. Revenues recorded date, we're at $20,869,607.32. That is 49.33% of budgeted revenues. I got word it looks like we're not going to be getting a sales tax sharing grant this year, but because we had excess tuition and interest income really good, I still think we're going to be able to hit our revenue figures. That sales tax grant, if you remember, the last 2 years, we got it when we didn't budget for it. So because we're in a good place, I figure, well, we'll budget for it again. Because a big reason why we got it was with inflation, the price of everything went up. And the way this grant was set up, 0.5% of sales tax revenues were supposed to go to municipalities to be distributed. But then they started adding a lot of things on where that money was filtered other places. One of the biggest places recently that it goes to is the cap on motor vehicle taxes. I think it's almost 33 mils. So if you're Hartford and you have a mill rate of 60 or whatever it is, the cars, they only pay 32, I think it was 32.86 mils, somewhere in there. So anything above that, Hartford would lose out on that tax revenue, so the state will reimburse them for that.
And we lose.
So we lose out because our mill rate's not above that. So that's higher in the pecking order. Basically, the distribution to all the towns is the last thing on the pecking order. And we got the email that, yep, there's nothing left, so you're not gonna get it. And I think it was last year we got around 250,000 or so. So we're not gonna get that, but like I said, tuition's projected to be over. Interest income's gonna be over, so we will be able to make up for it. Other than that, no major concerns with revenues. Expenditures recorded date, we're at $21,185,313.27. That is 50.07% of budget expenditures. No major concerns at this point. We know we're gonna have a couple overages, but we should be able to cover them either within the department or with our exchange account. The only new item was longevity. We had gone back and forth during the budget process because we didn't know when the town clerk was gonna retire, but she got the longevity payment, but we were without a town clerk for a week or so, so we'll be able to transfer money from that salary line item to cover the longevity. So no worries there. As far as fund balance goes, right now I'm projecting around, at the end of the year, to be around 20.19%. So we're in really good shape. Again, the unassigned fund balance projected for the end of the year, that's still subject to the audit. So that could change, but right now that's where I'm thinking we're gonna be. So we are in good shape. And like I said, once we have the final audited numbers, my recommendation would be to use whatever we are above the maximum as of the end of last year and really put that toward some more capital items, maybe roads or something like that. Something that we can use the surplus for without having to rely on it next year. Also, just some updates, budgets. I've started putting a budget together for next year. I'm gonna start meeting with department heads coming up. And I told the selectmen I'd like to have their budget finalized by end of January, beginning of February. So when we get into our regular meeting in February, you guys can have the proposed budget by that meeting. So that's going on. The audit, the auditors are coming out tomorrow to do some testing, and then they're talking about coming back out possibly in January to do the remainder of the audit. And if anyone has any questions on my report or anything else, I would be happy to answer that.
How's the audit going?
Don't know yet, but I met with Deb today to try and reconcile our numbers, because we're close, but we're not exactly in line, so we're working on getting that straightened out. That's my number one priority, so we can make sure they get out here in January, so hopefully we can get that cleaned up rather quickly. I don't think we're too far off. It's not like it was last year. Things are better, but we still do need to do some reconciling.
The town clerk retired now?
Yes. We have a new town clerk that's in there now.
Anyone else? So we still have not gotten to a point where we've been able to close out the fiscal year, correct? Okay, and I think it was our last meeting before then, we didn't anticipate any issues. What's the delay?
Just trying to get the end of month spreadsheet to agree to my system and their system.
Okay,
And
so
I talked to Deb today, and she's got someone that she's working with that is familiar with their system.
Mhm.
So hopefully once they meet and get everything rectified there, then we'll be able to,
Okay.
get everything all set.
Okay. Did you get your spreadsheet that you have been waiting on?
I did, I got the spreadsheet, but there were some recommendations that I had sent to her last week
Mhm.
that she had made, but we're still trying to work through some of the numbers.
Okay, yet the audit is technically beginning tomorrow.
Yeah, they're coming out for the testing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I still don't think obviously we're at where we need to be. There's been some sort of I'll call it a cog in the wheel of progress here. On getting things correct, getting things in a timely manner. I still have some concerns. Here we are in December and 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. After the first of the year, I am going to call a special meeting of our board, and we're going to have an executive session because there are some things that need to be shared with you, and we need to come up with a firm game plan moving forward, because the lack of timeliness, I think, and the lack of I don't know if I want to say correctness or accuracy, has now lingered for the better part of 2 years. And that can't continue. So we're gonna need to tackle that moving forward. So we'll start that probably in January. Anybody have any other questions for Eric?
Guess my just last question would be, do you see something that is not gonna work? Not happen to close this?
No, I think we'll get there.
It's just the time that's taken.
Yeah, and just making sure the understanding is there that the spreadsheet has to agree to all sides, and I think we'll get there. It may take some going through the detail a little bit, but we're not that far off now, so. I
Finally,
don't think we're definitely not where we were last year, but we still got some work to do.
Okay.
okay, we're gonna move on to number 5, old business, update and discussion on bonding projects.
Winter's going on, so not much going on with it. Again, the sewer, the only thing left is for the pump station to go in. All the lines are in. They've tested the lines, everything's good, so we're just waiting on the pump station, which will be done in the spring. The water, we've been working with DECD on what we can start, because there's certain, testing that they're maybe requiring. We had a meeting with them last week to see if we can start on the water lines now without, they call it SEPA testing. It's some environmental, because it's state money, it has to go through SEPA testing, but we're trying to get them, and they're talking about accepting the testing we did for the federal grant. It's a different type of environmental test, but they seem willing to let us go ahead with doing a water line down, 160, is that 164? So we're hoping to avoid having to do more testing there. They did put in water lines across 164 where they had to go across. That way, they're not gonna have to dig up the road twice, so that's gonna get final paved, in the spring. And then we won't have to dig up the road anymore, because the rest of the water line is gonna go off the shoulder, so. We're still hoping to get everything done next year. I think we should be able to. Just, won't really see a lot of stuff being done until springtime. They're trying to get DOT to allow them to do the bridge crossing for the water between now and springtime when they can, because they're not having to go underground. So it's just going, it's basically goes underneath of the bridge across the highway, because the water line starts near where Oak Tree is. So they're trying to do the bridge crossing over the winter. They're waiting for DOT to approve that.
I know we don't, have a details on, but that project that we're doing is for, it's still on track.
Yeah,
The village stand, whatever it is.
Oh, Heritage River? I have no idea.
yeah, I mean, I know they're trying to get additional funding, but they're still hoping to put that plan in, but till they get funding, no one knows.
Okay.
Five B update from Recreation Budget Subcommittee. I don't think anybody is
Uh,
here
yeah,
from that.
I haven't got it.
Somebody like to make a motion to table at the next month's meeting?
I'll make a motion to table the update recreational budget subcommittee until the next meeting.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, any other business? Okay, we'll move on to public forum. Does anyone wish to speak? Okay, we'll move on to the final item, adjournment.
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.